Hey everybody, in this video we'll be taking a look at Yoshi's Woolly World for the Wii U. Now as you can see, this game has a very pretty, very beautiful box art, but what really makes this particular artwork and box art stand out for me is just how honest it is. I mean, it really manages to capture that joyful, colorful look and feel of the game itself, and it actually looks the same as the game. The colors on the art itself match perfectly together, and they go very well with the signature light blue color of the Wii U, which isn't always the case when it comes to Wii U box arts, unfortunately. The disc itself uses different art, which is once again very pretty, very nice, very well put together. However, I'm not a big fan of the way Yoshi is placed so close to the center. Other than that, it's absolutely wonderful. Now it's time to take a look at the game itself and see what I have to say about it. Ever so often a game comes along with everything you could ever want from a video game. It's this, I don't know, work of art that just touches you deep inside and stays with you for years to come. And for me, Yoshi's Woolly World happens to be one of those games. You know, this might sound silly, but it's an experience that I feel richer for just having gone through. This is an adventure full of wonder and joy and absolutely wonderful, whimsical moments that you'll remember for years to come. Yoshi's Woolly World is an absolutely wonderful little adventure. Each area, each new location we visit is more beautiful than the one before it. And each new world, each new level has something new, something interesting, and something wonderful to offer. Whether it's a new monster, a new creature, or maybe a new seamlessly implemented gameplay mechanic, there's always something new and something fresh, something fun in each new area we visit, and I think that's what makes the game so special and the adventure such a joy to play and experience. Quality controls are the key to having your game be accessible to everybody, and Yoshi's Woolly World absolutely excels in this department. Now, whether you play with the tablet controller or the classic Pro controller, you always feel completely in control of your character. Now, earlier I mentioned something about seamless implementation of gameplay mechanics, of new gameplay mechanics, and this is present throughout the whole game. The game doesn't do anything drastically different, but it introduces new concepts just enough to stay fresh, stay fun, but at the same time keep being familiar enough for you to always know what needs to be done, without, having you confused and waste your time trying to figure things out. This is also apparent in the boss fights. They all have very similar mechanics, however, they have different attack patterns, different movement patterns, like, bosses should in every game, every good, well-made game. But the core mechanics is always pretty much the same. The bosses are absolutely adorable, and you can't not feel bad about fighting these bosses. Either way, the bosses are a true joy to fight, and they're visually absolutely stunning. I mean, they actually look, they're bigger, and the fact that they're bigger, you can spot more details, and they actually look like real soft yarn dolls. They're absolutely wonderfully made. Throughout the adventure, a whole bunch of Yoshis are gonna join your group. They come in all sorts of colors and patterns. Now, you can also add new and, different patterns and color schemes by using Amiibos. However, each and every one of my Amiibos I tried that was actually compatible with the game didn't quite produce the results I was hoping it would. One of the things I absolutely hate about the Amiibo Yoshis is that Instead of just taking the character's color scheme and applying it to a Yoshi model in a way that it would actually work for Yoshi, they kind of do this thing where they take the whole character and texture it on Yoshi's model, and it looks absolutely terrible in my opinion. It just doesn't look right at all. Unfortunately, this is something that could have been great. For example, I would have loved to play with Bowser colored Yoshi. However, when I saw that big mouth at the front of Yoshi's nose, it turned me away from the model completely. It just wasn't fun to play that way. But you know, the Amiibos aside, the game itself offers so many different colors and color combinations and patterns that if you're anything like me, you'll find yourself changing your Yoshi just so it matches the level you play. Heck, sometimes I enter a new level, I see that it doesn't quite match my Yoshi, and I quit the level just to change a Yoshi and find something that looks better in that particular level. Now, there was one Amiibo that actually produced quite a surprising result for me, and that was my Plastic Yoshi Amiibo. What happens is, if you use this one, Plastic Yoshi actually comes and visits the yarn world, I guess. So basically, if you use a Plastic Yoshi in the middle of a level, you get to control both your yarn Yoshi and your Plastic Yoshi, and you're given extra chances if you mess up. Surprisingly enough, controlling both Yoshis with one controller is actually very intuitive. I never had any trouble figuring out how to, manipulate both of them to go where I need them to go, and it was actually a lot of fun. So there's something you should know about me, and this is something many gamers, I guess, tend to get pretty darn upset about. I care a hell of a lot about graphics and visuals and art direction. So if these things aren't right, if the games I play don't look quite right, I simply can't get immersed in them, or heck, I might not even play a game if I don't like the way it looks. Fortunately, Yoshi's Woolly World is one of the most gorgeous, one of the most beautiful, stunning games I've ever seen in my life. So, many games in recent years have tried to capture this handmade look and feel of their worlds. It's an aesthetic that I absolutely love and love seeing in games. However, it's something that I believe is fairly difficult to do, and I'm gonna try, to the best of my abilities, explain just what I think goes into creating something like this, and why I find it as impressive as I do. Now, in my opinion, when creating something like this, artists have to do their best to merge two types of different art directions into one. Alright, so on one hand we have the more cartoony aesthetic, we have cartoony characters and cartoony worlds that they now need to model in a way that they will resemble actual puppets, or maybe paper dolls or yarn dolls in Yoshi's case. On the other hand, we have the more photorealistic aspect of things, and this is where developers or the artists absolutely need to be very careful in order to make the game look like it was made out of actual objects that came to life. What really needs to be done here is one of the key elements to, other than of course good texturing and good materials that resemble their real-life counterparts, they also need to mind the lighting a lot. Now, if the lighting don't look right, if the shadows aren't realistic enough, you're not going to get that feel and look of an actual, I guess, set of toys or objects that came to life and they're moving about while being recorded with an actual camera. Some games do this absolutely wonderfully. Of course, Yoshi's Woolly World is one example of such great handmade look and feel, and there's also Puppeteer, but we also have games that never quite do it right, even though they try to, and one of these games is actually one of the Little Big Planet games. Unfortunately, it's the karting game, which I never got into, and I never got into it partially because of the downright terrible visuals, in my opinion. It does not and never manages to capture that handmade, realistic look and feel that the previous games had in the series. Fortunately, we have Yoshi's Woolly World to show developers just how to get this done right. So we already established that I absolutely love the visuals of this game. However, visuals alone aren't enough to capture and create just the right atmosphere. Yoshi's Woolly World also excels at its audio and music. It has an absolutely incredible, outstanding musical score. Now, I'm not an audio person. I can't tell you just what went into creating this type of music or what kind of music most of it is. But what I can tell you is that the music and sound effects match the environment, the visual aesthetics of each area absolutely perfectly. And this is exceptionally important when it comes to creating just the right atmosphere. Yoshi's Woolly World is the type of game that works for the player and not against them. This doesn't mean that it's an exceptionally easy game where you don't have to do anything. I mean, you still have to put some effort later on in order to get past some obstacles or whatever. However, it's the type of game that never frustrates the player. It never turns you away from wanting to keep going forward, and that's very important in a video game to me. What I really respect about this game is that it, in turn, respects my time, so it never expects me to be absolutely perfect just so I can see the next level or the next area. It understands that I don't have an infinite amount of time to keep trying to get things absolutely perfectly in order to advance, and that's something I greatly respect in video games in general. So guys, as you can tell, I absolutely adore this game. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and honestly, it's a very inspiring experience. I wholeheartedly recommend this game to anyone who wants their imagination sparked, who wants their creativity improved, because this is the type of game that makes you want to go out there and create something beautiful of your own. Yoshi's Woolly World is just such an honest game. It's one of those games that everybody should be playing and enjoying regardless of age. The kind of game that improves your creative thinking, that improves your imagination. It's just so full of positive energy that I think everybody should give this game a chance, and I hope you all do, and I hope you all enjoy it as much as I do.